Imagine it. A version of Xena Warrior Princess where Xena and Gabrielle could be a main text couple.
Liliana.
Yes.
No. Xena reboot. The original cast and crew only. They shelved the garbage that was going to be the reboot. No Xena reboot.
I didn't mention anything about a reboot.
Well, you said imagine a version of Xena Warrior Princess where Xena and Gabrielle could be a main text couple.
But I didn't say anything about a reboot.
No, but that's what they were going to do with the reboot. Wait a minute.
Yes.
Xena and Gabrielle were a couple.
Says who?
Says basically everyone that was ever affiliated with the show, and you when you try to bludgeon me with a sledgehammer to knock the sense into me that, hey, look, this happened.
Okay, so how did they get that across to the viewers?
That would fall on the writers.
Right. As what? Come on now, Trista. I know you know this one.
Subtext?
Right.
Oh,
shit.
So.
Yes.
They talked.
They did.
We listened.
We did. And now, welcome to a special edition of the Babbling Bards podcast.
A podcast made by Xenites.
For Xenites.
Today, we're going to work things a little bit differently.
Today, it's all about the subtext.
We'll talk about the first episode that began controversy and the last episode that gutted fans everywhere.
And Trista's done her research, and we've got quotes from cast and crew and writers, and yeah.
And the actors.
Yeah. Well, cast, crew, yeah.
Cast, crew, writers. Well, writers are crew too.
Okay.
You said writers.
Yes.
If you can be redundant, so can I.
Okay.
Okay. So.
Yes.
We all know that you believe in the subtext. Liliana believes. Praise Calliope.
We're not there yet.
And I know. But you believe in the subtext, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Any clue where you started or why you started? Why? Why? Yeah, like...
What do you mean, why?
Like... Oh my god, I don't know. Like, how did you first deduce that Xena and Gabrielle were more than friends? Because, I mean, you watched Buffy.
Yeah.
And, like, Buffy and Willow were buds.
Uh-huh.
I mean, they were pretty close friends.
Yeah.
How did you come to the conclusion that Xena and Gabrielle's friendship was not platonic like Buffy and Willow's?
I can't pinpoint it.
Because they were besties.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, I mean, granted, Buffy never caressed Willow the way that you know.
No.
The warrior and Bart, and they didn't bathe together.
No, they didn't. That would have been weird.
Buffy.
I
wouldn't bathe with my best friend.
I wouldn't either.
Oh.
Especially not, in the nude.
I remember when I was little, because I grew up Italian, full-blooded Italian.
Yeah.
And we had some, like, really, really old dudes in the family, And I can remember sitting around at a table and my uncle talking about how they used to have communal bathing.
Oh, jeez.
When they were in Rome. And, like...
Yeah.
There would be like 3 or 4 different families in the big communal baths. And he told me one time, he said, I saw a guy one time, he had one too many strombolis, and that was the last time we did communal bathing. We had running water the next day. It's like,
that's crazy.
Yeah. Running water the next day.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
That's crazy. So.
Yes.
What about you?
What about me?
Do you believe in the subtext?
Yeah. Now?
Yeah.
I was a little slow on the uptake.
How slow?
I was slow.
How slow is slow?
Snail riding backwards on a turtle slow. Yeah. I'm pretty sure Liliana caught that before I did. Because I think it was like the last... Do you remember the very first time that I watched through with you? And it was the scene where Gabrielle was giving Xena water out of her mouth, and I was like, oh! And that was like it. And I was like, huh, well, that was weird.
Uh-huh.
And then when I watched it through the next time, we, like, kind of skipped certain episodes that I didn't care for. Like, you know, Married with Fish Sticks.
Uh-huh.
And a couple of other ones. I think we skipped all the Horde episodes.
I think so, yeah.
And then we watched it through again. We watched it through, like, 3 times back to back, because Liliana was trying so hard to get me to see the subtext, because, God, I wanted Xena and Ares together so bad.
I know.
And Kevin Smith actually gave a couple of quotes that just busted my Xena and Ares bubble.
Oh, yeah. He had said, there's only one person for Xena, and it's not Ares. And he also said, Ares loves Xena, but Xena loves Gabrielle. So
Straight
yeah.
from the guy's mouth.
Right.
Man. So that dented my do a little bit.
Yeah.
So, like, this third time we're going through and we're watching, and we get to one of the Horde episodes. It was The Price that we got to, the very first one.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's Price, daughter of Pomera, and then The Abyss.
Uh-huh.
Those are the Horde ones.
Right.
And we get to that, and I tell Liliana, I'm like, oh, we get to skip over it, right?
No.
And she's like, well, why don't we go ahead and just watch them all through? And I was like,
Yeah.
okay. So, fast forward from the episode The Price in season 2
Uh-huh.
on up to season 6, The Abyss. That's when I got it.
Season 6.
Season 6, the episode The Abyss.
Oh,
It finally clicked with me. Because,
Uh-huh.
and I can remember specifically what it was. I remember for me it was the fact that Gabrielle told Xena that she had one last request. And it was for if she died, for her to be allowed to lie with Xena.
Right. I pointed that out to you. I felt
Yeah.
like you listen to what she says.
Yeah, because I wasn't. I was so dead. Because I hated the Horde episodes so much. Like, they made me crazy uncomfortable. Like, I feel bad for Renee O'Connor. Especially with the Abyss episode. Because she's gone on record and said that she didn't like that episode because it was raw and it made her feel like she'd been violated.
Right.
But, I mean, I hated the Horde episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like The Price. I didn't like the episode The Price. Because I felt like it almost demonized Xena, even though it didn't.
Uh-huh.
But it turned her so much into old warlord type Xena. And then it really put tension between she and Gabrielle for the first time. And it was just like, whoo! You know, eat you a kazoozle, drink a Code Red, and you'll be okay. You know. But I can remember The Abyss because I was just kind of sitting there. I think I was playing around on the computer or doing something, and Liliana, like, put her hand on whatever it was I was doing. She was like, look, listen to what she's saying. Rewind it and listen. And if anybody knows me at all, I am a huge history junkie.
Right.
I love history. And so when Liliana pointed out that was the comment Gabrielle had made, I want to lie with you with your family, you know, if she died, instead of being taken back to Potadia to be with her family, I was like, wait a minute, because back in those days, it didn't matter how close of buddies you were, unless you were married or in a betrothal type relationship,
Right.
you were not allowed by custom law to be entombed with anybody else.
Right.
So for me, that was like my whoo deal.
Your wake up moment.
I guess so. Because I was like, oh man, hey, now that part makes sense. Oh my god.
Everything else started clicking.
Everything else started clicking. I mean, I'm still a little slow sometimes. Sometimes Lillian will still be like, hey, did you see that? Hey, did you see that?
Uh-huh.
Well, not anymore because she assigned me the subtext portion. So sometimes now I get to see stuff that she missed.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm that good.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. Thank you for the vote of confidence.
You are.
I swear it's like pulling teeth to
No.
get a compliment.
But you are. When you do your research and you start digging, I mean, you don't stop digging until
I find an answer.
Until you got everything. So
Yeah, I'll find a quote for like for instance with this subtext episode, I'll find a quote or an anecdote from filming or something like that, and I'll research that quote to find another quote, and then I'll research that quote until I'm all quoted out, and then nobody wants to be friends with me because usually I smell like death because I've been crazed and
no, you don't.
No.
Okay, not at all.
Yay me.
So why would they do it in subtext?
Huh?
Why would they do it in if they were in a relationship? Why would they do it in subtext instead of main text?
What? Hang on just 1 second, because Joxer's throwing a temper tantrum to go outside.
Yes, he is.
He just wants to go out the door. So Liliana's gonna chill with you guys for a second.
Okay.
Come on, Joxer. Alrighty, and I'm back.
Okay.
Yay. Didn't you guys enjoy chilling with Liliana? It's a good thing
No.
the door's not that far away. No, what did you ask me?
Why
Why
would they? Why the
subtext?
subtext instead of the main text if they were in a relationship?
Well, back in the Dark Ages,
Mm-hmm.
also known as 1996, the same-sex relationship dynamic on television was like a huge no-no.
Right.
You had investors that would pull out of the network to fund the show. The show might be endangered altogether. The very first lesbian kiss was featured on an episode of LA Law in 1991, and every investor pulled out of backing LA Law until they terminated the writers that wrote that kiss in there.
Wow.
Nobody would back LA Law. It ran on for 3 more years just to fulfill the contract, and then after that they totally absolved it just because they put that on the air.
That's crazy.
And they hadn't, at the time, they didn't have, or they had to jump through all the hoops to be able to approve something. Well, when they got that, aired on LA Law, nobody expected it.
Uh-huh.
And it was between, I think the characters were CJ and Abby, I can't remember. It was a lesbian couple. I mean, obviously I didn't have a problem with it, but I wasn't even in kindergarten at the time. But after that aired, all the investors had to pre-screen everything
Jeez.
that went on air. That way they could tell them if they needed to change anything. So they would get a copy of like the shooting scripts of the show, and they would have to run with it. But a lot of shows would kind of push the envelope a little bit because they would wait until right up at the wire till they started filming, and then it would be too late for the network to do anything about it.
Yeah.
So they didn't really have much choice as far as Xena goes to be able to portray a relationship between she and Gabrielle in any other way other than subtext.
Yeah.
Like, I think you and I have talked before about it, but The Path Not Taken and Mortal Beloved.
Uh-huh.
Mortal Beloved.
Yeah.
There's 2 ways to
Beloved.
pronounce it,
Beloved.
but we'll go with the old Hebrewish way to say it. Beloved. They weren't even aired in 6 different states in 96 because of the interracial relationship between Xena and Marcus.
Right.
Because that was crazy taboo at that time.
It's ridiculous.
But Rob Tapper and Liz Friedman and Steve Sears, TJ Scott, all those guys, they pushed the envelope as much as they could, because by the 3rd episode, and they start getting the fan mail and all the reviews and all that good stuff, they go to Lucy Lawless and Renee O'Connor, and they're like, hey, people kind of think that you guys are lesbians. And they were like, cool.
Yeah. And then they just rolled with it.
They did.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was one of the, and I find it funny that by the 3rd episode, people were already thinking that, because the whole deal with the network, when Xena even came on the air, when they did the main title sequence, they could not put Lucy Lawless and Renee O'Connor in the same shot. because the network, quotation marks, Universal Television, was too afraid that it would be perceived as a lesbian show.
That's crazy.
That's stupid is what it is.
That's insane.
Yeah. So,
Jeez.
it's been a little nutty for the whole Xena Gabrielle deal.
So,
Yes.
when did they become a couple?
Like when I think they became a couple?
No.
No?
No.
No?
Not when you think.
Like in general? Like
Yeah.
when did they become one in general?
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't there. If we could go back in time, we could ask Minya. I like Minya. I think I get what you're just like in general, or like popular views among fans, or what. If you mean like overall, it depends on like what point of view you take from the show, because there's multiple different points when they could have become one. There's like several different points in time from fans that have supporting evidence in the series. But you've got your people that believe that they became a couple in Sins of the Past. And the whole reason they look at it that way is because you've got, even though Sins of the Past is the first episode, and it's seemingly your innocent episode, you've got people that look at it and say, hey, this episode's like subtext written all over it, because people focus so much on Xena being the pursuant of Gabrielle, I guess, and Gabrielle just playing the young stupid and, not really realizing that Xena had feelings for her in Sins of the Past, but Gabrielle was the one that pursued Xena throughout the entire episode.
Yeah.
But they back it up with Sins of the Past, like, well, if you look at the way that Gabrielle captures Xena's attention when they're all rounded up, she's just, like, fixated on Gabrielle. Not the crowd of women.
No.
Gabrielle. And she doesn't move to do anything to help these villagers until Gabrielle is threatened directly. She doesn't try to help them or anything until the soldier says that he's gonna whip her, that a good lashing will teach her a lesson.
Yeah.
That's when Xena springs into action. And then, like we talked about in the very first podcast, she gets distracted looking at Gabrielle and then gets knocked out.
Yeah.
Well, then you have Gabrielle deciding she doesn't love Perdiccas, she's going to leave home, and then telling Lila that she doesn't fit in there.
Yeah.
And she's going to leave and go travel the world. She wants to go hang out with Xena, and Lila tells her she's crazy, and she's like, I'm not like anybody here. And Lila says, I know you're crazy. And then the comment from Gabrielle is like, well, call it what you want. I'm still going.
Yeah.
So, and then they parallel it with the episode When Fates Collide, because it's the same notion of love at first sight.
Right.
And that's what the people that think the relationship started as not sexual relationship.
Yeah.
Just them viewing each other as more than friends. They're like, oh, Sins of the Past, it was love at first sight. That's why Xena stopped the way she did. That's what made Gabrielle decide that she was going to join her on the road, because why else would you leave your family?
To go with a complete stranger.
To go with a complete stranger.
Yeah.
And then you fast forward to When Fates Collide, and it's very much so the same thing. They see each other. They're attracted to one another.
Right.
And Gabrielle tries to be with Xena. Xena tries to rescue her, and then she sends Gabrielle away to protect her.
Right.
They're like, it's still the whole love at first sight, even though Caesar's altered the loom. It's still the same storyline played out later.
Right.
So you got that one. You got some people that think that it didn't start till season 2 with the episode The Price, which is the first Horde episode. After Xena barked at Gabrielle, and then they made nice with each other, and they were okay. Xena kind of trying to make amends for and I'm not going to talk in depth about the episodes we haven't covered.
Yeah,
because,
we'll go into depth.
Yeah, we'll go into
when we get to them.
I mean, there's stuff in episodes we haven't covered that I do have some subtext examples. Yeah. But we'll get to that. But as far as delving in depth into it,
yeah, we'll cover all that.
We'll cover that when we cover the episodes. But you have in the price, you have Xena kind of trying to, after she snapped at Gabrielle, trying to make nice. Mm-hmm. With her, like, trying to atone for what she did after she tells her, you don't ever, talk to me like that.
In front of
my men.
Yeah.
She comes back and she's apologetic. And somebody made the comment on one of the forums, they're like, oh, Xena's got don't make me sleep on the couch syndrome or something like that. But a lot of people look at it that way, as that was kind of right about the time that they got together, and that was their first little relationship tiff. And then there's some people that think it was the arc that I kind of started talking about in Mortal Beloved, where you have Marcus saying Xena the Dead can hear your thoughts, and then he tells her not to give up on love, and then he's completely shocked that she tells him she loves him, and, you're like, well, the only other person she's around enough to feel those feelings for
is
Gabrielle. And then you have Royal Couple of Thieves, where you got Xena and Autolycus going after the Ark. Mm-hmm. And then towards the end, you have, when they open the Ark.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You've got Gabrielle going to grab for Xena in a way of trying to protect Xena, but also needing to know that Xena is right there to protect her too. Yeah. And then Xena tells her, don't run from the truth, face it. So that's another thing that's pitched back and forth is, well, what if Gabrielle's truth is that she's in love with Xena?
Right.
Because the next episode is the prodigal. And that's actually the next one that we cover in the podcast.
Yeah. So
I won't spend a huge chunk of time here. But then you have, as far as the prodigal goes, that's usually everyone's take on that Gabrielle's decided that she needs to sort out what she's feeling for Xena on her own. Because she freezes for no apparent reason.
Yeah, there's no reason.
I mean, she's looking at Xena, she freezes, and then she can't do anything. So that's some people look at that as it's still a fingerprint from the episode before, where she's still trying to deal with all this, and to do that, she needs to go home and deal with her shit and talk to her sister. And they look at that as Gabrielle's coming out episode. They look at it as Lila's already known that Gabrielle has those feelings, and it's just, Gabrielle needing to come home and face it herself and move on about her merry way. And then we have Altered States, which is our first subtext heavy episode in season 1, where you have, Gabrielle climbing up Xena's body and the you are beautiful. Oh yeah, go ahead. You really like that quote when she's climbing her body.
When she's climbing up the what are they climbing up, the like water?
Yeah, the whale.
The whale.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what is it that Gabrielle says?
Like, oh, did I hurt you?
Did I hurt you? Oh yeah. It seems all like no, loving every minute.
Which was an ad-lib by Lucy Lawless.
Lucy. Yeah.
That was another cool thing that they would do.
Yeah.
Also, they would put little snippets into the show as a nod to the subtext.
Right.
The people like Lucy came up with loving every minute of it for the subtexter audience. She also came up with in Been There Done That, the hey, is that a hickey?
Oh yeah.
That Ted Raimi says.
Yeah.
She says, hey, it would be funny if you did that. Just a little nod. Renee O'Connor in the episode Kindred Spirits, the not tonight.
Oh yeah.
She came up with that one.
And she was startled awake by
When she was startled
by
awake by
that,
Cyan.
Yeah.
And then the hand holding in Finn's Femmes and Gems.
Uh-huh.
That was a suggestion by Renee, which we'll talk about why here in a few. And then, I had another one. What was it? I know I had another one. No, I got it. What are those cats doing? Oh my god. So now I'm going to blow your mind.
Okay.
You got a quote. I think I put Lillian on quote duty because she had me on subtext duty. So you had a quote, I believe, by Liz Friedman.
Uh-huh.
And I found actually a really interesting take on that quote.
You mean they're such a perfect little butch femme couple, what they do between episodes, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it caused a huge uproar.
Really?
When Renee O'Connor cut her hair.
Ah.
When she cut her hair short.
Yeah.
And she lost the length.
Uh-huh.
Because they felt there were LGBT fans that thought it made Gabrielle look too butch. They didn't like the fact that it made Gabrielle look butch and it made Xena look more femme because her hair was longer. Lucy and Renee actually talk about that in one of the Coffee Talk episodes, I think. But I found it really funny when I was talking about Gabrielle being the pursuant. You can see in various episodes. You can see in the episode The Titans. You can see in Chariots of War. You can see in there's a bunch of episodes, especially in like episode 1 and the later episodes, like when it gets into like motherhood and kindred spirits and all that stuff. You can really see that one would think Xena would be the aggressor in the relationship. But in actuality, if you go back and you look at the episodes, Gabrielle is actually your aggressor. Because Xena kind of just goes with the flow. I mean, she'll put her foot down every now and then.
Yeah.
You know, which that's any person in any relationship. Your beta always, you know, at some point will put their foot down and just be like, look, no. You know? And Xena will every now and then. But if you'll pay attention to the episodes, Gabrielle will say something, and when Gabrielle says it, that's just the way it is. It's like in the episode Death Mask, the one where Xena faces Cortez and they find Taurus and all that stuff. And Xena's trying to send Gabrielle to the village to be safe. And Gabrielle's like, no, I'm staying, and that's that. And then she turns around and she tells Taurus, you know, I'm sorry you had to see that, Taurus, which turns it into a lover's dispute versus just a little argument. But anyway, but that like blew my mind. I'm like, all these people freaking blew up over a haircut. Did they not watch the episodes? Because you can totally see Gabrielle being the more aggressive one. Not saying she was the like hateful about it or anything. She was just... She called the shots. I mean, Xena may have decided where the two of them were going next because she was head fighter. But Gabrielle decided what went and what didn't. But anyway.
Okay, so.
Yes?
Was there like any controversy like with Xena and Gabrielle being a couple to where the writers had to change stuff to where people were like, okay, hold on.
Oh, yeah.
You know, had to kind of rein them in and say...
There were quite a few, actually. Like the episode The Rheingold. They couldn't get the go-ahead for the script until they changed a couple of things. When Brunhilde is talking to Gabrielle, and she says, you love her very much, don't you? Right. That wasn't the original line. The original line that was scripted for her to say to Gabrielle was, you're in love with her, aren't you? So they scrapped that. They also, the Rheingold, you've seen Xena and Gabrielle this entire time sleeping at camp near each other and sharing a bedroll, and you know, if there's one bed, they sleep in the same bed together and this and that. but everywhere it said the Amazon Village, which that's a whole different ballgame.
Okay.
Amazon Village, according to lore, anyway, for the Amazons, Gabrielle and Xena would not have been allowed to share a bed in Amazon territory because Xena was not an Amazon.
Right.
Which is a way to explain out of that one. But there are several times that they're shown sleeping in 2 different beds. But as far as you've seen them sharing a bedroll, you've seen them laying together under the stars and this and that all through the entire series. But the first time that it's shown that they actually share a bed was in the episode The Rheingold, and then it got scrapped. They ended up putting them in 2 separate beds, but they left in like a couple of residuals. It was implied that way because Gabrielle, when she rolls over, she reaches for Xena,
right?
But she finds the note that Xena's left, and when Xena gets up to leave Gabrielle, they kept the kiss that Xena gave Gabrielle. That was kept, so that's one of those that established, hey, there's intimacy here, you know. Same way with When Fates Collide, there was originally supposed to be a kiss in the dungeon scene. After Xena's been imprisoned and they're, you know, trying to get Gabrielle the hell out of Dodge.
Right.
There was a kiss that was written in the script, and it was never shot. Then The Quest, the episode The Quest, the ambrosia was originally supposed to be transferred mouth to mouth.
Yeah.
Which personally, I think would have been a nice callback, because a few episodes later you have Xena inventing CPR on the fly.
Right.
So it would have been like almost a foreshadowing of that, but they didn't keep it in for whatever reason. Oh dear. What else was it? How could I have forgotten?
What?
Fins, Femmes, and Gems.
Okay. Yeah,
the entire script was changed.
Yeah.
24 hours before shooting. The entire script was changed. So essentially, the way that the episode was originally written out, when they're in Aphrodite's temple, after the star's been stolen, Joxer has ape-man obsession. Xena's obsessed with fishing.
Right.
Gabrielle becomes obsessed with herself, but originally, Gabrielle is looking at the sexual positions on the wall, and she becomes obsessed with Xena in various sexual positions. That was going to be their coming out episode between the two. And that was the only one that the network was really like, look, we got a couple of big name backers that are back in the, because De Beers, the diamond company, was going to, you know, if they could incorporate a diamond into it, they were gonna completely foot the bill for the entire episode. So they wrote it around the North Star, but had they done that, and Rob Tappert actually pitched it a completely different way. He was like, hey, you know, if we do it this way, it could be big. Ellen just had a big coming out episode. There's a gay couple on Buffy now. There's, you know, Will and Grace is on the air now, and this and this, and they're like, yeah, no. So they sent the script over. They looked at the script. A couple of the writers threw a fit, because in the script they had like cheesy stuff like Gabrielle trying to look up Xena's skirt when she was, you know, just standing there, and then one of the writers is like, a lady wouldn't do anything like that, and, you know, I think they come back with something like a lady that's sexually obsessed with a warrior princess would. And so they threw a fit, and then 24 hours before they began shooting, they'd already shot a few scenes, because you can tell that a couple of things got kept in there that had already been filmed. But 24 hours beforehand, they give the script back to the writers. They're like, no, you're going to have to fix this. So they turned around, made Gabrielle obsessed with herself, and thus Fins, Femmes, and Gems went up in flames. The original one. Now, the episode was still well done. It was still funny.
It was.
I mean, it was fucking hilarious. I liked that episode.
Uh-huh.
But yeah.
Cool.
So that changed. Another massive change
Uh-huh.
was Friend in Need Part 2.
What happened there?
The final scene where Gabrielle's trying to get Xena to stay.
Uh-huh.
You know, how am I supposed to go on without you? And,
Right.
you know, don't you want to be with me and this and that? Xena, originally, it was scripted for Xena to say, oh, Gabrielle, you don't know how much I want to choose life, to be with you, to travel with you, to lie down with you under the stars, and to wake up next to you and see the dawn turning your hair to gold, was the original
Aww.
script. I know. But Xena was going to be, you know, toast anyway.
Yeah.
And at that point, they didn't want to make it harder on the fans than what it already was.
Okay.
Also, the episode When Fates Collide, Catherine Fugere
Uh-huh.
had to rewrite that script 4 different times because it was considered too main text.
Jeez.
But there was a good reason that it was main text. And Liliana had some quotes for that too.
Oh, about the When Fates Collide.
Yeah.
From Catherine Fugere?
Fugere.
Fugere? Yeah, well, she had said that When Fates Collide, it was a story about Xena and Gabrielle meeting and falling in love all over again.
Mm-hmm.
And then she had also said that when she first wrote the episode, that it was made clear to her by the cast and crew that Xena and Gabrielle were in love with each other.
Mm-hmm. And then she also said, because specifically Renee and Lucy
Uh-huh.
told her, gave her some instruction on
She had said, I was explicitly told by the executive producers, a writing staff, and the 2 lead actors, which, you know, Lucy and Renee,
mm-hmm.
that the characters of Xena and Gabrielle evolved from friends to lover relationship over the course of the series.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then she had also said that, you know, it's soulmates in love, which was how Rob Tappert wanted to portray it.
Yeah. So that's. Yeah. I still think my favorite quote from any cast or crew member was at one of the conventions. Claire Stansfield. Claire Stansfield, if you guys haven't had a chance to meet her in person, she's the one that plays Alti.
Uh-huh.
She has such a dry sense of humor, but she's freaking hilarious. And she's so down to earth, and she's so nice. I don't even remember what was there? It wasn't a Xena convention. I don't even remember what type of convention it was, but she was in attendance. But there was a question from the audience, and they're like, you know, so hey, what's Alti's opinion? Xena and Gabrielle, are they a couple? And best quote ever is like, is this still an argument?
Right.
Jesus fucking Christ, of course they were. It's like the best ever.
Yeah.
And for those of you non-subtexters, Hudson Like on one of the behind the scenes commentaries.
Commentary for Sacrifice 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she makes the comment, listen to your wife, Xena.
Mm-hmm. So. And Lucy Lawless, by, you know, she's like me. I mean, I'll take that all day long. I caught onto it about as quickly as Lucy Lawless did.
Yeah. Which is funny because she played the character.
I know, right?
But she didn't catch on to it until late.
Yeah. I mean, because she was still in, like, the really stage.
Yeah.
But, she straight up said that they were married.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, she did.
You got that? You got that quote?
Yeah. She said, now it wasn't just that Xena was bisexual and kind of liked her gal pal, and they kind of fooled around sometimes. It was, nope, they're married, man. But, yeah, that's what she said.
That was another thing, is when they went from, you know, when they went from just two girls fooling around to committed relationship, because you have a ton of what I call flavors of the week in there for Xena and Gabrielle both. And then you'll notice all of a sudden it like tones way down. Pretty much after Hope came along, it toned way down. The flavor of the week for either of them.
Yeah.
Because you don't have one for a while until Antony and Cleopatra. I mean, other than Cyrene trying to marry Xena off when she's pregnant in Liar, Liar, Hearts on Fire.
Yeah.
But even in Antony and Cleopatra, there's like crazy jealous girlfriend moments from Gabrielle.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, that she goes all, well, like you said, a jealous girlfriend.
Yeah.
That was season 5. Antony. I always want to say Anthony, but it's Antony with no H.
Yeah. Antony and Cleopatra.
Yeah.
You should know that it's Antony, not Anthony, because of the 10th kingdom. Because that's what the dog calls Tony.
Antony.
Antony.
Yeah.
No, Antony. It is your duty.
Right. But, yeah, that's the Gabrielle's jealous episode.
It's the same deal as like Xena when Gabrielle tells Salmonius and the Black Wolf, this wouldn't have happened if you kept your hands off my tomatoes.
Oh, yeah.
Xena cuts him like the Xena look of death.
Right.
Like, your hands were where? On what? No. I'm gonna be nice, Salmonius, because I like you. Tell me what's your preferred way of death.
Right.
Joxer! Shut up! That's the cat.
Yeah.
Not the mighty. He's whining. The other cat is in the other room, and he can't make up his mind if he wants to stay in or out of the bedroom. The children are asleep. We can't leave the door open at this moment. And he just can't decide if he wants to go in or out. And it's driving him insane that the other cat's out there and he's in here, but he doesn't want to stay out here because he's a big chicken shit.
He's scared of the dark.
Yeah. Some big protector.
Uh-huh.
But, anyway.
Yeah.
I completely lost my train of thought. It pulled out of the station.
Did it?
No.
No.
It's okay.
Okay.
We have Renee O'Connor quotes, too.
Yeah?
On her take on their relationship.
Oh.
Especially, like, the last episode. Because the last episode, if you were in any doubt whatsoever throughout the series, the last episode, Friend in Need 2, that was your definite, like, whoa.
Well, she had said, yes, we definitely came out of the closet in that last episode of the 6th season. But all along, we were pushing the envelope as much as possible, and we were really dancing between the main text and the subtext, trying to satisfy everybody. And it was very clear that we were traveling together, and were lovers and friends. The friendship was so deep that it went beyond everything. It was such a universal truth.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Right?
So, yeah.
Then Lucy Lawless just straight up said, Xena's a love story between two people.
All right. Yeah, she said that the show was all about love every minute of every day.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and then Renee O'Connor popped out with, these are two soulmates who are meant to be together forever. They're a couple, and they'll always be a couple.
Right.
And then Steve Sears, who wrote a majority of the episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody knows whether, it's they're a they or not, it would be Steve Sears.
Yeah, because he had said that he, while he was writing the characters, that Xena was in love with Gabrielle.
Mm-hmm.
And had said, why not hit the nail on the head? Xena and Gabrielle were a same-sex couple. They lived together, fought together, and fought for each other.
Yeah. Like, if you take a look at all of Season 5.
Uh-huh.
Season 5, every bit of it is it's all about building Xena and Gabrielle into being a family unit.
Yeah.
Because you got Eve coming along. In fact, in the episode Animal Attraction, one of your subtext moments is when Xena finds out she's pregnant. She doesn't think about, oh shit, I'm pregnant. The first thing she says is, Gabrielle's gonna freak!
Yeah.
And then you'll also notice everybody else, after she says she's pregnant, everybody just stops, and all of them just turn and look at Gabrielle like, shit's gonna hit the fan. And Gabrielle's being all calm, trying to figure out, because she's asking Xena, she's like, when? When were you with somebody? Because Gabrielle has the look like, you cheated on me?
Right.
I mean, she congratulates her. She still congratulates her. That's what she's supposed to do.
She's still like, okay, who and when and where and...
Because, one of the first things she says is, when was the last time you seen Hercules?
Yeah.
Xena should have just looked at her and said, look, Hercules isn't into same-sex couples. Have you met Kevin Sorbo?
Oh, jeez, let's not go there.
Okay. I'm too liberal for my own good.
It's okay.
Thank you, Joxer. Joxer backed me up. He said no, I wasn't. But anyway, yeah. It's season 5's all about crafting that little... There have been so many people that are like, oh, Xena treats Gabrielle like crap.
No, she doesn't.
She doesn't. They're like, she treats Gabrielle like she's more of a boss and this and that. If you watch season 5 and you pay attention to season 5, they don't have as much dialogue together. Xena and Gabrielle don't. I mean, they still have some, but nothing like it was in the earlier seasons. But that's also part of maturing as well.
Right.
It's like Liliana and I. We can be in the same room together and not say a word for hours. I'll be doing my thing and she'll be doing hers, and doesn't mean we love each other any less. It just,
Right.
That's just life, man. When you get complacent and you get comfortable with somebody and you are in a family, that's like when you can just be real. If you don't want to... I mean, shit. I come home from work sometimes and I don't want to see I don't even want to see myself. It's like sometimes I just get the urge to cover the mirror because I do not want to see one other single solitary person. I'll come home and I don't want to talk to anybody. Can you imagine, if I was off fighting warlords and everything else, coming home? I mean, I'm not going to want to talk to you about, so, what scroll are you riding today? How was your day in the scroll field? What warlord's ass did you kick today, honey? I mean, come on. Get off it, guys. But,
Oh, wow.
there was a wolf after that flock of sheep down the way. Did you get it? Did you make a pelt? But yeah, it doesn't mean that their relationship was strained on or off camera. Because I've heard that one too. I've heard, I research quite thoroughly.
Yes, you do.
I mean, I've heard that when I was like, oh yeah, somebody suggested that, Lucy Lawless had a problem with Renee O'Connor. Yeah, so she didn't want to be associated with Gabrielle. Well, you know what? That would have blown up all over the place if that was the case.
That would have been all over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially as huge of a franchise as Xena was and still is.
Still is, yeah.
I mean, it would have been, you would have gotten those lame HuffPost things all on Facebook.
And those tabloids and
National Park. It would have been right next to 3'2" man gives birth to 7'1" bearded alien or something like that. But I mean,
that's ridiculous. Wow.
But it just, if you watch and you pay attention, that's when you really start seeing Gabrielle's arc.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have her coming this whole way from the whole thing with Dayhawk and with Hope and this and that, and then you have her realizing that Joxer's in love with her,
right?
And then her having to deal with that, and then the woman that she loves is now knocked up, and she doesn't know where it came from because her fingers aren't loaded. So I mean, you don't freaking. You don't know what's going through her head, but you see this change in season 5, where now Gabrielle started to become the protector. She steps very much so into the role of the warrior.
Mm-hmm.
After she's a freaking badass with those size.
Yeah, she is. She can kick butt.
She can.
She came a long way from Podadilla.
Yes, she did. She did.
Yeah.
That was another thing. That was another subtexty thing. In the episode Death Mask, she makes the comment to Taurus that when Xena found her, she was just a little girl from Podadilla.
Right.
So, which inaudibly makes the suggestion that Xena changed her from a girl into a woman.
Right.
And then you're like, oh yeah, but in the Titans episode, she was a virgin. Yeah, well, you know what? Back in those times, if there was no penis, you were a virgin. It's just the way it rolled, dude. So, I mean, by their way of life, yeah, that was accurate. Just like when she told Perdiccas when they got married.
That she'd never been with a man.
She didn't say it was her first time.
Yeah.
She said she'd never been with a man.
She didn't say she hasn't been with a woman. She just said she'd never been with a man. And didn't Renee on one of the commentaries comment about that?
The commentary for Return of Callisto.
Yeah.
She and Lucy start giggling and she's like, I said I'd never been with a man.
Yeah.
And they're just like dying laughing.
Yeah.
But yeah. That was the thing because but that was actually one of the suggestions on one of the boards that I pulled part of my research from, is that in the Titans episode, that she, gave this look to Phileas, the monk guy. Phileas, I think is his name.
I don't remember.
But she gives this look to him when he says, "This virgin." She gives this look like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Because the whole underthought for that is she had sex, but it was with Xena, so it didn't count.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But anyhow. So that's what some people think, that it started back as early as that, because you get also, we were talking jealous girlfriend earlier. You get jealous girlfriend from Xena in the Titans episode.
Yeah.
Like major.
Yeah, you can see it in her face. Just.
And then there's the question, speaking of Phileas, then there's the question of the flavors of the week. Well, if they were in a relationship, why did Gabrielle feel the need to tell Xena that if anything had happened between her and Phileas, it was none of her business, and this and that, what about the whole deal with Ulysses, and about the thing with Marcus, and what about, well, we covered the thing with Marcus and Mortal Beloved.
Right.
Because the speech from him when he tells Xena not to give up on love, we talked about being like the remnants of an ex-lover giving the go-ahead to move on, or a deceased lover giving the go-ahead to move on. Yeah. As far as, honestly, the flavors of the week came from the network. When things would start getting too dicey on the show between Xena and Gabrielle, or it would get too suggestive, they would throw a male love interest in for good measure. If you guys will watch when you get an episode that's heavy in subtext, you guys watch your next episode, there'll be a dude in there somewhere. It's like in Return of Callisto. Your episode right before was subtext heavy. Xena and Gabrielle at the beginning of Return of Callisto was subtext heavy. And then Gabrielle point blank tells Xena she's going to tell Perdiccas no.
Yeah.
Because she looks at Xena, she's like, well, I'm going to tell him no. Like, I don't love him, I'm going to tell him no. And then she feels guilty, so she ends up telling him yes.
Right.
And, yeah. But the network would have to appease the network, the writers would have to throw a bone every now and then.
Yeah.
That's where you get your flavors of the week from. But even those are as the series progresses, though, those get few and far between.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
As we cover more. But
right.
Because really after Craft Star, the Dayhawk dude.
Yeah.
After Craft Star, you really don't have a flavor of the week again from Gabrielle. And Xena is so bent on making sure that Gabrielle's protected,
Right.
she doesn't have a flavor of the week either. With the exception of, like, Rafe and King Khan, but that's season 2.
Uh-huh.
You know, and the whole Dayhawk thing happens season 3. But anyway,
Yeah.
you can get that. And also, you still have the same deal of it doesn't matter who comes into their lives, they always end up getting drawn back to each other.
Right.
So,
Yep.
proof's in the pudding.
Yep. And then, I mean, obviously we'll go more into subtext with each episode.
Yeah, because that's my job description.
Yep.
They got mostly my talking today.
Cause you're the subtext one.
That's what I keep hearing. I just dig. Oh,
Yes.
before we leave,
Okay.
I want to make a special connection.
Okay.
Nothing dirty. That like came out sounding
Like
more subtexty than I meant it to. So you have a quote from Rob Tappert.
Uh-huh.
I noticed on your quote research.
Uh-huh.
Why don't you share that quote and then I'm going to like loop it together.
Okay. He had said, all I can say about Gabrielle is that she fulfills Xena's every whim.
Okay.
Now go for it.
You've been waiting on me to rope this all together. I've been talking to
Take it away, Trista.
Take it away, Teresa. Liliana's been waiting on me to bring this whole thing full circle because I keep talking to her about that quote.
About that quote. Yeah, yeah.
You've been waiting?
Yes.
Do you want the big reveal?
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, the episode Warrior Princess.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember after Princess Diana and Philemon are together
Okay.
and Xena and Gabrielle are grabbing the desserts off the tray?
Yeah.
Do you remember what Gabrielle says to Xena? We just watched that episode.
I know.
We just covered that in the podcast.
I know. Oh. I don't remember exactly what you said, no.
So...
I know if you say it, I'll remember.
You will, and then you'll start talking over me. She makes the comment to Xena. She says, "Oh, tell me, you can't tell me that." She makes the comment that she says something to the effect of, "Oh, Xena, come on, you can't tell me you haven't enjoyed this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, having people waiting on you hand and foot, fulfilling your every whim."
Okay.
And Xena makes the comment back to her, "Well, that's what you're here for."
You're here for. Okay.
Well,
yeah.
right after that was said,
Uh-huh.
Rob Tappert gave the interview saying that Gabrielle fulfilled Xena's every whim.
Uh-huh.
So, which ironically is, that line is one of the only bits of subtext that you get in the episode Warrior Princess. So, even Rob Tappert said that Gabrielle fulfilled Xena's every whim.
Right. Right.
And then Xena says Gabrielle fulfills her every whim
Uh-huh.
on the show. So, that was my full circle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
So,
Yeah.
I think that wraps it for us.
I think so.
What do you think?
Yeah.
I think we babbled at them enough.
Yeah.
This one's going to be a little longer than the other ones.
Right.
We may do another one of these if you guys
Yeah.
like it. I don't know. Or we may just start recapping,
Mm-hmm.
like, after we complete a season.
After each season, yeah. Just do a recap and...
Yeah. Because this is
Yeah.
kind of an overall, but you don't want to go too much into it because then you run into the problem of repeating yourself during the other podcasts while we're doing the
Yeah. Yeah.
the walkthroughs and don't want to.
Well, yeah. We'll save all that extra stuff for each episode.
Yeah.
So.
Because I have much more.
Yep.
I have many examples. It doesn't sound as snazzy as
Yes,
I have many skills. But anywho, hope you guys enjoyed. Leave us a comment.
Comments, questions.
Comment, questions. I live
opinions.
for questions.
You know, let us know when you think they became a couple.
Yeah.
You know? Well, when do you think they became a couple?
Yes.
Okay.
I tend to fall more into the arc category.
Okay.
I think there was a something in the Titans episode,
Uh-huh.
but I think after everything that happened in the Titans episode, I think they had like a cool off period.
Okay.
You know, because Gabrielle was still like immature, so I think
Yeah.
Xena was kind of giving breathing room a little bit. But I fall for more of the arc theory.
Okay.
I would think, starting from Mortal Beloved on, obviously, that early in the thing, it wouldn't have been committed because,
Yeah.
Gabrielle fucking got married to somebody that wasn't Xena. So there's that.
Oh, that came out of nowhere.
It did. It came.
But anyway.
It came absolutely out of nowhere. But there's actually a hugely pointed out subtext scene in that episode.
Yeah.
When Xena kisses Gabrielle goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like for half a second, it's like, who's getting married? Wait a second. Xena's kiss was a little more passionate than Perdiccas's was. So there's something going on somewhere. But anywho.
But yeah, we'll go more into depth
Yeah.
when we get there.
Yeah.
So
But you guys leave us comments.
Yeah.
Like us. Suggestion us. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, at Babbling Bards
on Twitter.
on Twitter. And then you can Facebook us, throw books at our face. Shoot us questions.
Yeah, questions,
Comments.
comments, opinions.
Liliana
All
makes
that.
like homemade stuff. She does like Xena keychains and
That reminds me, I got someone that
bought a
bought
Xena
one.
keychain.
Yeah, I gotta
She
whip
did-
that up for them.
She does Xena keychains. If you guys dig those and you want something that nobody else has, they're entirely customizable.
Right.
She does a pretty awesome job.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You can look at what they look like at thebabbling.bards.com and under our Warriors Wares page. That's where they live at, or you can check them out on Etsy too.
Yeah, I'm on
But,
there somewhere.
Yeah. But follow us. I live for questions. Liliana likes to play Stump the Trista all the time. She keeps telling me she's going to find a Xena trivia question that's going to stump me, and I'm not going to know the answer to it. But
No, you'll probably know. Because, yeah.
maybe I haven't been watching as long as you have. I've only been watching for like 2 years.
Yeah, but you're very good at, like, trivia and stuff, so.
That's only because I got a photographic memory.
Uh-huh, exactly. Unlike me, where I'll read something 1 minute and then the next minute be like, huh, what? I don't remember that. Oh, okay. I'm very bad when it comes to, yeah.
And you guys, I want to put it to a vote. I keep trying to talk Leanna into doing a live stream
Oh.
for like a couple of specialty episodes, like maybe the musical
The musical.
or a couple of just live ones so that we can like kick it and chill with everybody like in real time, and there can be chatting going on and it can be like a thing. But Liliana's really shy, so she doesn't talk a whole lot. So you guys, if you want us to do a live stream podcast, like one episode,
jeez.
thumbs up us or leave it in the comments. Or say hell yeah on our Facebook page or our Twitter. Either one. Anywho, it's been like an hour and almost 17 minutes. So we should probably call it so they can get back to their lives.
Okay.
Okay.
Alrighty.
And
Until
we can
next
get to bed. It's like almost midnight.
Okay then.
And Lillian's turning into a pumpkin.
Yes, I am.
And I have that firearms class in the morning. Ugh.
Alrighty then.
Yay.
Until next time.
Happy chakrams. Happy chakrams.
Happy chakrams.
Battle on.
Battle on?
Happy chakrams.
Okay.
Battle on, chakrams.
Goodbye.
Good night, guys. Or morning. Or day. Have a grand one. Have the day you have.
There you go.
But make it a good one.
Exactly.
Alright. Good night, guys.
Good night.